This is a black screen, and I am a voice. This bit is stupid. Hello. Uh, I'm looking at the tags for Ultra Deluxe at Steam right now, and one of the tags is just horror. Uh, this is pretty funny. I mean, I guess it's kind of horror, like just a tiny little bit. But if you know the game, it's not really horror. It's just sometimes maybe spooky, but usually pretty funny. Okay. Um, I need to start the game. I hope it's gonna catch the game window. Yeah, okay, it's working. Good. That's all I wanted. Wait, I already did this. Why is it telling me to do that again? Guess I'll do it again. Let me see. Hang on, hang on. Before we get started, can I just say something? Thank you for actually setting the clock both times you've booted up the game. A lot of people don't take that step seriously. They just leave the clock set at 12 and call it a day. You're actually taking the time to set the clock and appreciate that. That's how I know that you care about this experience. You're paying attention. I didn't have any way of knowing if the times you're setting are correct. Tell you what, I'll make you a deal. Since you've been so cooperative, next time you boot up the game and see the screen, just set the clock to your favorite time. Go ahead, pitch whichever time you want, even if it's not the correct time. You've earned it. Alright, I'll let you get back to the video game now. Okay, thanks. Thanks, game. That was interesting. Okay, welcome back. Thanks for the achievement. I actually did not go the extra way of liking it yesterday. Anyway, I know there's one achievement where you have to set every slider, so I guess I can do that real quick. I know this is shockingly great content. Okay. Hold left and right mouse button to walk. Yeah, I'll turn that off. I don't need it. Uh, Switch this. Subtitles. I'll do it all manually by hand. Actually, I can adjust the background opacity. Why not? Let's set it to 50. I think 50 is good. Yeah. Oh, I guess I have to enable the translated labels on top of in-world text. You know, I guess that's not a bad thing to have enabled. I don't know. I don't really need it, I guess. But I wonder what even the game considers as in-game text. Like there's like these little papers on the ground where it has something written on it, but you can't really read it unless you have a way to zoom in, and I don't know. Additional text next to gameplay critical colors. Oh, okay, so this is for colorblind people, I guess. Now this is gonna be lovely, I bet. What a way to open the stream, I have to say. Why am I doing this?
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Thank you.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
You can stop. You don't have to. Thank you. This achievement is so stupid. Okay, fast mode. You don't want me to actually. You probably want me to, don't you? What are these resolutions? Have I gone through all of them? I didn't pay attention. Okay, now I have. F achievement unlocked. Settings world champion. Brilliant.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could
Okay,
it mean?
now actual
Stanley
gameplay.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay,
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around.
remember replaying the Stanley Parable 2.
Stanley took the bucket with him into this little hallway and closed the doors. This was their hideout. No one would ever find them here. Of course, no one would ever find them anyway because everyone was missing. But Stanley chose to ignore this fact and instead focus on how cool the hideout was. Just him and the bucket, two renegade heroes against the world, inside their secret, undetectable hideout, here, next to room 417. What a treat.
What a lovely treat, indeed.
Ah, no, apparently not.
But where's the new content? Where did the new content go? I guess everything else that is new content is this bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
All right.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
I've already did the...
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants
Yeah,
the
okay.
bucket.
We've been here already.
You can feel that, can't you?
No, you can
The
shut
aura
up.
of
It's okay,
jealousy.
it's okay,
It's as
it's okay.
coming to a staircase. Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
I want to try doing the escape pod ending. I've heard there's something interesting that happens when you do that. Okay, can't open this.
Stepping in.
Rate of increase in graphs per slide. I'm just gonna try opening every door, even if it doesn't make any sense to do that. Sometimes you may perhaps find something. Who knows? Okay, narrator is actually gone. You are now leaving. Bucket. Why did I say bucket? Or maybe nothing interesting happens. Maybe I've been lied to. Maybe I mixed up some words. Maybe I'm just an idiot. It's also a possibility. Escape out lunch bay. Escape. Oh. Sorry? This is actual lore or something, isn't it? I don't know how else to explain this.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh my god, the bucket is actually gone. Oh no! Oh no, what have I done? Oh no.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay,
This was not the correct way to the meeting
was
room, and Stanley knew
another
it
thing I
perfectly
wanted
well.
to try.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
I guess there's another ending down there, perhaps, that can happen without the bucket, but I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Sorry to break it to you, Stanley, but that lift isn't coming back. You'd best either get comfortable right here on this platform, or test your luck by jumping to the floor below. You know what? Looking at it now, it's not that far to the bottom floor. I bet you can make it.
Let's see if I actually can. Should be a way. Maybe. Okay, well.
Whoops. Looks like I was wrong. How clumsy of me. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Thanks.
And try not to lose this one too, you
Damn it. Uh, the writing is impeccable.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest, and this was not the correct way to the meeting room.
Ah,
But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
I guess I should try that again with the bucket.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Well, from here, it looks like the only way forward is down, since the lift won't be coming back, but that's okay. You've got a bucket. Did you know that buckets are routinely used as cushioning devices? It's true. You can fall on a bucket from literally any height and survive.
Alright.
Whoops. Looks like I was wrong. How clumsy of me.
Okay, well, I guess this isn't any different. Maybe? I don't actually know.
All of his co-workers
Maybe
were
I need to
gone.
try something
What
else.
could it mean?
Maybe
Stanley
I'll do it
decided
another
to go to the
time.
meeting room. Perhaps he had the good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket, off on another thrilling adventure together. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Let's try the... what was it called again? What was the ending called again? The
Still no one was here.
crazy
Stanley
ending?
needed the bucket's warmth and
When
comfort
we go
now more
downstairs.
than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find
Does dialogue
answers.
change if you go in there again?
Oh, Stanley, can you feel
Nope.
it? The broom closet. It
Okay,
wants
well,
the bucket.
never mind.
You can feel that coming to a staircase. Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me! The bucket!
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley! Find me!
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad. ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
She backflipped all the way to work. Oh, this is an opportunity for the speedrun.
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and
Oh wait,
entered
no,
the
I
door
haven't
on his left.
done the thingy thing with
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the
boss
bucket's warmth
office
and comfort now more than ever.
time skip thing.
Perhaps his boss's office was where he's coming to a staircase. Stanley and the
It
bucket
makes
walked
sense when I'm there.
upstairs to the boss's office.
I have to. I have to do this. Okay, well, I guess this isn't any different.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional... But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Let's see, what am I gonna do next? I guess I can try the museum ending,
The
right?
elevator raced downward, plummeting towards
No
an
way.
unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
I guess I'll save
Stanley and the bucket
museum
walked straight
ending
ahead through the
with
large
the
door that
bucket
read, Mind Control Facility.
for some other time.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket
Speedrun
both wondered
strats.
to themselves.
They actually kept it in the game, which is quite
The
amazing.
monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
I want to try the Easter egg again with the bucket. Did I already say that? My short-term memory is not very good. I should probably clarify that. Which I did just now, so I don't know why I bothered to point that out. Let's see. Let's see if it's any different. Oh, I want to try something else actually. Oh, this doesn't seem to be any different. Alright. Let's try.
But just as Stanley was about to proceed further into the mind control facility, he tripped and fell over the railing and into the dark void below. Thankfully, he fell directly onto the bucket, which safely cushioned his fall. Now, what to do next, Stanley wondered. Stanley and the bucket could find no way out of this enormous pit, and so eventually they decided that the best thing to do would be to simply get comfortable down here. So they set up a little couch and relaxed. It really wasn't so bad down here, a bit cold perhaps. After some time had gone by, they installed a few shelves as well, and a sort of kitchenette that was useful for when the bucket was craving paninis. But it wasn't until the rugs and the standing lamps came in that it really started to feel like a home. In fact, after some time, Stanley realized that it had been ages since he had even thought of the mind control facility at all. He'd never gotten to fully explore what was up there, never been able to unearth the many mysteries of the mind control facility. This lack of closure began to eat at him. Soon he was dwelling on his regrets, and the state of their home slowly decayed as Stanley became withdrawn and neglected the cleaning. It unsettled the bucket deeply. Stanley wasn't usually like this. The bucket tried to reach out to him again and again, but to no avail. All Stanley could think about, all he could talk about, was going back, doing it over again, staying on the path. It was
I'm sorry, I
mistake
can't
to
make
leave
it.
the path. It was a
I can't
mistake.
take it
It was a
serious with the
mistake.
mistake.
I need to do what the narrator says. I need to see the true ending. This made no sense at all to the bucket, which was simply trying to live its life down here as comfortably as possible. Yet Stanley was unconsolable. This isn't an ending. This is just a hole in the ground. The bucket sighed. True, it wasn't an ending. But it's where we happen to be. And maybe, possibly, if we accept the reality of things, maybe this will become an ending eventually. It's what the bucket was counting on. The two of them waited for a very long time.
Huh. Alright.
All of his co-workers were
So what
gone.
happens
What
if
could
you
it
drop
mean?
down there without
Stanley
the
decided
bucket?
to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
Because
simply missed a memo.
that used to be a glitch initially. An unexpected one.
A good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket.
Why
a
did I take the
committed
bucket?
A bucket of culture and...
I want to try it again without the bucket. That was E. I was pressing
Stanley
E.
decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him.
But yeah,
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered
was
the
it
door on
actually a
his left.
glitch? No, I know that you cannot actually. You were not initially able to die from. No,
Yet
nothing
there
would
was
just
not a
happen if you
single
dropped
person
down there.
here either.
What am I even saying?
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to
sure.
discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
They made the room so dark. Like when it closes and opens the passage, and I should stop talking. No, just kidding. I do wonder how the museum ending is going to be any different. Like, what are they going to ask? It's already there.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Actually, is the museum ending in general any different? Who knows? Anyway.
Aha! You've made it to the bottom of the Mind Control Facility. Welcome! You see, back when the Stanley Parable first launched in 2013, getting to the bottom of the Mind Control Facility was a bug that we simply didn't catch during development. And you all sent us lots of photos of it on Twitter and acted very superior about it. And you're all very, very clever. Good for you. Anyway, when it came time to update the game, we knew that we had to do something about this little goof of ours, so here you go. New content. You can call it the bottom of the mind control room ending, if that enhances your perception of the value of these updates. Isn't that what you crave? New content? Always more content, more content, more. And I'm here to give it to you. I'm here to make it seem like we really covered every nook and cranny of the game, with secrets and Easter eggs. How about this? We wrote a new piece of music just for this section. You won't hear it anywhere else in the game. It's a secret that's just for you. That's how special you are. We call this track, Good Job You've Made It to the Bottom of the Mind Control Facility. Well done.
Good job, you did it. Good job. 3, 2, 1. Good job, you made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. You jumped on the catwalk. You should have been careful. You should have been careful. It used to be a bug, but now it's an ending. Now it's an ending. I believe in you. I believe in your ability to cross this barrier and chase your dreams. But railings don't mean anything. Good job, you did it. 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 Good job, you did it.
Imagine. Oh my god. Let's take the bucket again.
The embrace of an old friend. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I guess I can try turning
Still no one was here.
on.
Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more
control
than ever. Perhaps his boss's
machine.
office was where he'd... Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Still open. Don't want to go in there though.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Other than the museum ending, there are no other endings down this door, right? I would know. I've studied this game, sort of.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Anyway.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life. and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored
Almost
like
did it.
guinea
Whatever.
pigs. The
Just gonna wait
bucket
for this
had
thing
never seen
instead.
anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it
I got like
gently,
the first clip
reassuring
down,
it
but
that
the second
everything
clip
would be fine.
wasn't even pulled up on the original before.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's
Not
influence
possible
as
to
well?
flip here since there are
Had
no
the bucket
chairs.
been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things
Why
does
am
a
I
bucket
thinking so
want to do or not want
analytically
to do
about
in
this?
the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter, his one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or
Yeah,
content.
we've been through this.
Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again
Let's
exert
say
its terrible
what went
power
right.
over another human life.
Mind control
For he and the
system.
bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the
Can't
world.
tell for sure.
They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made
And I
a
can't
sassy
read that at the
comment
top
about
left at
taking
all.
down the system. But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became active again. Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best.
I don't know about that.
Was happy.
I don't know about that, but okay.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed... The bucket made
I got the
Stanley
bucket,
want to be a
that's all I
better
need.
man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both of those things. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the...
Let's try
This
the
was not correct
confusion
way to the
ending.
meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was it? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to... And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Nope, we're going down.
Oh, good, Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this
Yes.
bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the adventure line? We could make the adventure line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Right, sure. I'm down for a new adventure.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Yes, it's back.
Now this is what the
Oh,
Stanley
okay.
Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
Oh. Okay. Oh no.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me, it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
What if I don't?
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans. Stanley, give the fans what they want. Hurry and... The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
My Bucket Destroyer. So, this is,
Not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I went the wrong way.
All of
Oh
his
yes,
co-workers
yes,
had gone.
yes,
Look at his
there it
room.
is.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Texture?
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it
I'm gonna
didn't
turn
make
it
a
off.
single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
So that's how they dealt with this Easter egg. That's interesting. because you could only access dog mode with the debug console.
It takes a lot of
Well, the
humility
console
to
in
carry a
source, but
bucket so
since this isn't
magnificent.
source,
Stanley checked his ego, and Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was
they
not
had to do it like
direct way
this.
to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Oh, so thanks, Narrator. I was about to say bucket, not button. The button appears to be
Good, Stanley.
disabled
I'm glad you found your way here. I
until the
knew
narrator
you'd find
finished
this
speaking.
place eventually. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure
say?
Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want
Can't
from a
read it.
sequel. They want more of their
Let me try running down the FLV. Maybe I could find something.
favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new.
Hang on.
Yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Almost everyone is human, which means that almost everyone makes mistakes. Sure, the pain of making a mistake, so wretched and vicious, is nearly unbearable. But it's even more painful to have to admit your mistakes to others. But I am going to show you how to communicate your I can't read that word. Today I'm going to show you how to communicate your moves. No, that's not moves. Is it? That does not say moves. There's no way that says moves. Your blank. Let's continue. Today I'm going to show you how to communicate your blanks to your teammates in a healthy and graceful manner. First, let's look at the mistake I made. The texture on this floor needs to be carpet instead of wood. It's a simple change. Indeed, instead I accidentally delete the entire map. In a blind panic, I saved the file. Everything is lost. I made a mistake. Again, it's important to remember that everyone makes mistakes and you are still normal and that I love you. But it's also important to regain composure and handle the situation with precision if you want to do any damage control. This can be resolved if we stay calm. Let's think about the situation logically. Everything that was lost was inside the map file. If the map file doesn't exist, no one will know you deleted everything in it. The only logical answer is to delete the map file. Perfect. Or is it? Look closer. Is it suspicious that that's the only missing map file? Aren't you supposed to be editing that particular map? If anyone sees that this file is missing, they'll know without a doubt that it was you who fucked up. Oh my god. It actually says that. Our only option is to delete the rest of the maps as well. Good, this is much better. But I'm still uneasy. I'm not worried about being caught. I'm thinking about what kind of man I am. I'm a real man. Did it say real? Yeah, I'm a real man.
I own a real shirt. I built a house once. When I start searching, when I start something, I follow through. And right now, this feels to me like a half-ass job. Half-ass is like underlined with this red thing. This red wavy thing. That just doesn't sit right in my stomach. I think I'm going to delete every file and the entire game. Be sure to empty the recycle bin. Outstanding! You've just permanently erased every file from your team's shared Dropbox. High five yourself. Uh-oh, here's William, the late level designer. Seems he's discovered my mistake, quotation marks, and wants to talk. As a team leader, this seems like a good opportunity for me to discuss the game's radical new direction with him. Don't ask me how I was able to read all of that. Even with like the little zoom, it was still kind of tough to make out the words. Like this is impossible to read. I cannot read this at all. But like this, just barely possible. I'm sure there's an easier way, but I mean, I guess I could have turned up the resolution or like anti-aliasing. Let's see. What if I turn up the anti-aliasing? Does that make it any easier? No, not quite. Still can't read that one word I wasn't able to read. No, okay. Anyway. Gonna turn it down back to 2. Otherwise my game is gonna have my laptop. I'm actually streaming from a laptop, by the way. Otherwise my laptop is gonna drop some frames and I don't want that.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
So the narrator is applying the line itself. Played the music. But in the
Now,
original,
this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
I was gonna say in the original confusion ending where the line shows up, what was I gonna say? Yeah, the narrator plays the music and not the line. So which one is it? Which one is it?
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket.
Yeah, okay.
That's
we'll
why
do it.
I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality
okay.
that to me it already feels as though it's
I
been
get it.
part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say
But these
goodbye
aren't
to the
buckets.
bucket,
Never mind, there's a bucket.
and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
Buy buckets. Oh,
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality
okay.
trait
Well, I guess I
deserve to
can't do
join the
it. Let's start over. Since apparently that's not gonna do anything different.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Now, what else is there to do with the bucket?
Stanley cradled the bucket in a gentle embrace, protective yet delicate, assertive, yet compassionate.
Give me more new content. This extended hallway existing isn't new, by the way. Just another
Stanley
Easter
clutched the
egg.
bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Now let's go here.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Fine.
Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Was that catwalk there before? I don't remember.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Yep, okay.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
Alright.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
Okay. Sure. Jazz music. Okay. Oh, there's this. There's this book. Good. Hello, Stanley. It's me, your bucket. Press Y to make me to work. To take me to work with you.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is
Can't turn
just
off
in
the
his
PC.
head.
Oh. Press X to take me back home with you.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Press K to go back to work.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
Don't listen to the loud man. Press U for us to go back home.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
Press Y to ignore anyone in your life except for me.
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold,
can't
empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
believe I'm real, don't you, Stanley? Press L to go back home.
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Press C to relive this same day with me over and over.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Press G to go home to work, to home, to work, to home.
Oh no, I'm having feelings for the bucket. No, 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 no. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes, the bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation.
This is Don't tell me I just. Oh no. Uh-oh. I think I broke it. That's not good. Well, that's unexpected.
Stanley, give me
Okay,
the
there we go.
bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it
Close
or
your
I'll...
eyes. Go back to work, Stanley. Huh. Interesting.
Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time.
Incorrect subtitles. They kind of show up here and there. Bucket? Let's try going without the bucket.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps too, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
I wonder if this ending is any different without the bucket than with. Yeah.
Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path.
You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault.
Huh, I guess that's all there is to this ending.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him.
I guess I can try some of the endings. Again, without the bucket.
Ah, Stanley's bucket, the only co-worker he would ever truly need.
Why is that? Why does like the rope thing appear sometimes and sometimes it doesn't? Confusing.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was it? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No, said the bucket.
Right. No, hang on. No, hang on. I want to go to the museum first.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Is Stanley, without the bucket, really Stanley at all? No, surely not. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd... Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Fairly straightforward.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Museum. Let's see what's there.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Maybe this isn't even a museum.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death. The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Let's see what's up. So this isn't any different so far. I mean, aside from the dialogue.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as it was crushed violently to death.
Pretty sure there's also like the original voice actor, like the other one, aside from the narrator.
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest.
Oh,
It
the
was a
bucket is actually
glorious
gone.
bucket to behold.
Oh my god, the bucket is actually gone. Bucket welcomes you to the grand exhibit. You're standing at the precipice of knowledge. Much like a bucket itself, the human mind is filled, frequently empty within a cavernous void. Cavernous void. But through use of the exhibit in front of you, the mind becomes full and enriched and substantiated. Knowledge of the bucket and its history is the only true knowledge we really have. Will you take what you learn here out with you into the world? Will you accept with an open mind what may be challenging about the information in this exhibit? Will you change the lives of yourself and your loved ones as a result of this exhibit? Or will you turn a blind eye and continue to live as you were, in ignorance and darkness? What happened? Oh,
Can
that
you
is.
see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
Bucket! What's up there? A bucket with two handles. This bucket is depicted as having two handles. Such a design has never been created in real life, having been deemed too dangerous and recklessly experimental. Every year, dozens are put to death just for attempting it. It's a lot of buckets. 25, that is not 25. A photograph of 25 buckets, the greatest number of buckets ever captured on camera. The photographer experienced catatonic shock for several weeks as a result of the euphoria from exposure to this many buckets at once. But it's not 25. Why does it say 25? Inferno bucket. Replica of the Inferno bucket, which in the medieval era was so powerfully alluring that it drove dozens of nations to war with one another for control of it. Billions died, and yet in spite of it all, the simple fact remains, no one can control a bucket. The stress bucket, an analogy. Worrying, negative forecasting, negative thinking, lack of reassurance. Stress equals the level of water in the buckets. Vulnerabilities equals size and strength of the bucket. Coping strategies equals holds. Rest and relaxation. Doing something you enjoy. Rest and relaxation. Yep. Definitely yes. What is happening? Cave drawing. Well, we know that buckets predate the existence of mankind. We do not know by how long. This cave drawing depicts early man's discovery of the practical uses of the bucket, by which time the bucket had already likely been around for several millennia. Notice in these drawings how the bucket is allowing itself to be used, having judged humanity to be worthy of its treasures. This doesn't quite make sense to me, but I'll accept it for what it is.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
The hanging bucket. This piece symbolizes the necessary relationship between bucket and humanity. However clear our grasp of the bucket may be, there is yet more that is always out of reach. This distance inevitably is for our own good. Oh.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together.
I could do that, but I want to see what happens.
The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision of the...
Oh, okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Reassuring dog. Bucket! Yes, I will take you with me.
As Stanley lifted his bucket, he felt a connection to all buckets everywhere. This adventure, he decided, was for all of them. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was it? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
There's
Stanley
one
took
more
the door on his
thing
left to go back to the meeting room.
that I can think of to do.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
Nah, let's do...
Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke. Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket. Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it. But there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right here. Let's take a look.
What is comedic timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny, with the funny. Let's practice screaming, I'm Denny with the funny now.
I'm Dunny with the funny.
Good. This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy.
Does it have like a mic in it
Finally,
or something?
it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, we're each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invaders who threaten our very existence and who very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
What? Huh?
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
All right. Let's head back.
I can feel it. This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we have the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. But I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley.
The bucket spoke.
The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
Not quite what I expected from this, but I'll roll with it for now.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left. What? We're back at the phone already? No. What's going on? There was supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point, a dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land, or not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the two doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again. Yes, surely that will help me improve my... Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left. No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud?
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes. Well, let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? Is it the delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame? Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal, I think I saw it playing guitar. No. We're getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional videos. Let's see.
Guess that's it. I can't think of any other things, any other endings.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed
Is there
support
the
and
end?
guidance from others,
The
so the
end?
thought of total solitude
the
was
end?
terrifying to him.
It's never the end. That wasn't there before. What happens? Okay. This is different. So maybe... Do I take the bucket or do I not take the bucket?
What new mysteries lay in store for our bucket-loving heroes today? Let's find out. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Where else can I go? I'm pretty sure I've already explored all the options. Right? Can't think of anything else at least. Let's try going this way again.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this... No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Nope.
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
I'll try getting down there without dying. But, I guess they didn't. Oops.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Yeah. I don't think there's...
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing.
I want to try... I want the non-bucket endings again.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Maybe the museum ending is different. Just maybe.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Kill surprise.
Right. Let's see what the museum ending has to offer. I'm hoping there's something new. There might not be, but I would expect there's something new.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Yep, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Alright, let's see.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Was the very first concrete piece of the Stanley barrel's design. Yeah, this isn't any. This was created. The rest of the game emerges an extension of it, and exploration. The contradiction is imposed. Yeah, this isn't any different. This doesn't appear to be any different than usual. Sound selection of the sounds used throughout the game when buttons are pressed. Sound is a mix of a keyboard stroke and a synthesized tone. The impeccable Kevin Brighting as the narrator. Early version of the maintenance room. This is definitely new. These are some screenshots from, Ultra Deluxe announcements. In December 2018, we announced the Ultra Deluxe version of the Stanley Parable at the Game Awards. These are screenshots of the videos we made for the announcement and the game's delay. The reveal trailer. Still looking back at it, was pretty amazing. Early in development, we designed an ending where Stanley would end up on a battlefield fighting aliens. The action game would become sentient and would wage war against the narrator. We realized shortly after starting to build it, it was far too jokey and on the nose for the tone of the game. Plus, some people interpreted it as making fun of people like shooters, which was not our intention. Yeah, this was here in the original as well.
What's here? Narrator emails. After the second trailer, we sent out. We asked people to email the narrator for questions. While we had initially planned to use these further promotional materials, we never found the perfect use for them. Here are a selection of those emails. Yeah. How's the game going? I hope it's a good. Is this good or better than the first one? Oh, so are you a rock? I don't think so. This section there, I think no, it's not. It's not new. Version of the lounge, office, apartment timer. Briefest version of choice leading you to the apartment ending. A timer would give you 15 seconds to pick up the phone. Not picking up the phone would lead to a different ending. Yep. Cargo lift. The version of functionally the same. So it's the final game, but wanted it to look more like a place where cargo was actually stored. Yeah. You had to offer the choice of staying on or jumping to a different path. However, after this early version we decided we also wanted the other player falling to their death. Yeah. Also still in the original. Both hallways following the first doors was hard to get right. I will replay them so many times. Just got no design from other was the simplest version that won out. Yeah. One option. 1 hour to maintenance in the lounge. Yeah. That's that number one is the correct one, pretty much. 2 options. The other entrance would be hidden depending on how you enter it. I see. Was that say at the top? To confusion ending. Oh, okay. So I guess they moved the elevator for that one. Weird. One option. 1 door to maintenance or lounge and the original back on track option. Okay. Vent. Right. Yeah, this was all in the original game as well. This was in the original as well. Zending though. These are originally part of the Zending. They would pull 11 there with a scripted pull they had pulled. I haven't done the Zending because the bucket can't go there. It only ended when the player restarted from the escape menu. Fortunately, very few players realized this was what they were supposed to do, which was frustrating for everyone. The ending went through many iterations. This pressed the fourth version of the ending, and we thought that was complete, but decided to abandon and changed again shortly before launch. What are those buttons? I rid of the ending known as the Zending, which was eventually cut and merged with another part of the game. Oh, okay. Huh. Guess I didn't remember that one. Countdown test. For a time, the elevator momentum could go up or down with freedom above and countdown below. Apparently, this one plays when it's too difficult to remember what was up and what was down. Place the two endings together instead. There. The ending said it existed in beta. And the other one could go up or down. Yeah, so this is just the same thing, I guess. First incarnation of the Freedom ending. Game's alpha. Clock. Boss office. Screenshots. Screens from the development of the boss office. Now these are dev textures. These are dev textures with some more furniture. And this is the... I think that's the final version. Looks like the final version at least. Lounge. Go portion of the game. Yeah.
Stanley stood on the snow. Stanley pushed the big red button.
Kevin Brighting, the voice of the narrator, recorded dialogue for the entire game roughly 3 separate times over the years of development. These are clips from early takes that were not used in the final game.
Nothing there. Shoot. Well, try the when Stanley came to the lift, he traveled upward to the power source at the top of the facility right to end this into where he was supposed to be.
This is too confusing to coherently listen to. Back here. So they did add a few new things, but it's mostly the same. I'll get there in a minute. Game design mockup. This is about William, the level designer, sent Davey, the writer, as a kind of audition piece. The strength of this level got William hired to design the full game. Though much of the environment has changed, the basic layout from this mockup has still in the game. Kind of reminds me of Portal. With like the decay and stuff. Stanley's office. From left to right, the evolution of Stanley's office over time. First was created in November 2011, the second March 2012, and the third in February 2013. This is the original one. It looked like this, and now it looks like this. Oh, he used to have 2 PCs. Interesting. Anyway.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game.
There is no quit. Well, quit the menu, but it's not the same thing.
As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let
Doesn't automatically reset, does? Oh, never mind, it does. Yeah, I'm running out of things to do.
All of his co-workers
guess,
were gone.
I guess
What
that's
did
the
it
whole
mean?
game.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
They did kind of make it like in the original way you wouldn't know when you found everything. So it kind of makes sense to keep it that way. I bet there's still a ton of Easter eggs and secrets that I've missed, but I cannot actually see where to find them. So I guess that's it. I guess I kind of just found everything, for now at least. I mean, can't really.
No matter how hard Stanley looked,
Okay, so
he couldn't find a trace
let's
of his
like-
co-workers.
Let's think about this. What did I miss? Oh, right, the Zending. I guess I wanted to try the Zending again. Can't take the bucket with me there.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. it was okay. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I want it to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Yeah, they're the same. Always happen.
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy. No, wait. Where are you going? Oh, no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing. No! Oh, thank God you lived. You had me worried there for a moment. Now, can we please get back to the other room?
Oh, I'm actually slower.
There. See? This is what you want. This is where we can both be happy. We really can. If we stop moving, we just have to stop moving.
I'm actually slower after falling down.
Stanley, go back. There's nothing good that can come from this. No. No, no, what are you doing? Do you just not believe me? What can I say to convince you? Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me?
Even slower now.
Yes, perhaps you can. Perhaps you finally see what I'm talking about. I know you'll see that we can't be happy if we leave this place. You can see that, can't you?
Man, this is kind of depressing. I guess
I guess that's why the content warning uh, option exists.
No, perhaps not.
Suicide, trauma, mental health issues. I guess you have to like enable it to make a difference from the beginning and not like
My God, is this really how much you
the middle of the
dislike my
game.
game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly? Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get
Even
along.
slower.
But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours. Do you actually want to stay alive? Or are you just teasing me?
Yeah, no more
I
dialogue.
wanted us to be happy here, Stanley. I really did. I wish I still thought that was possible.
Yeah, he's not very happy about this. And I just feel bad about it. I can't get over the detail that they actually made you slower the more you fall off. Oh, this is it.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
I actually want to see. No, never mind. I don't feel like it. Uh, let's do the telephone
How
ending
wonderful.
again
Stanley was
to
alone.
lighten the mood a
Finally.
little more.
This is great, he thought to
Without
himself.
the bucket.
This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone. As Stanley picked up the phone, a white light engulfed him, filling him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one... Wait. Oh, goodness. Stanley, did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
Practice.
Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
They messed up the practice section. It's actually supposed to be longer.
Welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please. Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
How unfortunate. Okay, well, can't open that. I don't know why I tried.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world. Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
kind of freaky to think about it, but just a little bit. Just a little bit, not too much. I mean, it's still a game, right?
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to. I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make... behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back.
Yeah, it just resets if you do it
Behave
again.
exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Actually, kind of had to do it myself because I kept hearing it.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Can't open it.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Can't open this. Do you hear anything? Can't open that.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Nightshark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Nightshark 115. Yeah, it doesn't really work.
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Night Shark 115. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It never worked.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise, we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step. Okay, fine, you're not going to do it, but you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You...
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important. The story needs
I have
you. It needs
definitely
you to make a
missed
decision.
something
It cannot exist without you. Do you
somewhere.
understand me? Whatever choice you make is
Just
just
not
fine.
sure
We're both
where.
correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need.
I guess that, for now, that was the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. I think the stuff they had was pretty funny. And I'm still sure there's stuff that I haven't found yet. But I think I'm gonna end the stream here. And I'm probably not gonna do another one. I already exported the yesterday's stream to YouTube. And I'm gonna do the same with this one. That's about all, I think. I don't really have any plan with these streams. I just know that 3 years ago I wanted to stream this game. Wait, was it 3? 4. 4. That's when the announcement trailer came out. 4 years ago. Wow, it's really been 4 years already. But yeah, I know I tweeted out like a poll asking what I would stream first, because I wanted to stream the game definitely, but I was wondering whether I should stream the old endings first and then the new ones, and then it didn't even turn out to be this way because there was just a random door saying new content, and then I just went through it because I was so excited, and it just kind of happened. It just kind of took its natural flow. I guess that's what you can call it. Yeah. That's all I have to say. I guess I can end the stream now. Alright, yeah. Goodbye and stuff. I have
Sorry, I have nothing else to say. I don't know how to do outros. I don't even stream that often. But yeah. Um. Goodbye.